Today, I have the privilege of speaking with Coke Daniels, filmmaker, musician. I mean, he's done it all in the industry, and he has a new feature film called Karen, which is a very interesting film. I did not expect to invoke as many emotions that it did within me. Thank you so much. Can you tell us a little bit about the film?
Yeah, the film is called Karen, as you stated, and it's about a Black couple that moves next to an entitled white lady who actually happens to be named Karen in the deep South. Well, not the deep South, the suburbs of Atlanta in the South. And then she proceeds to try to run them out of the neighborhood by any means necessary. She just is not ready for that type of change, happening in her neighborhood. So that's kind of the gist of it.
So here's the interesting thing. When I read the log line for it, it's satirical social justice thriller, kind of meaning that it's a little bit larger than life to what's really happening. And as I'm watching
Yeah.
it, I'm finding these moments where I kind of want to take it that it's satire. I was like, no, I've seen a story like that. And then we
Yeah.
continue on. It's like, no, I've seen a story like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Um,
that's one thing about it is, obviously my background is in comedy, and I've never seen a joke that I didn't like. So,
mhm.
that type of stuff is going to be infused in there. But it's like from when I wrote it a little over a year ago, the Karen incidences are just getting more and more outlandish. Where it's like now, a year ago, you'd have read that script and probably been like, come on now, to certain stuff. And now you're like, yeah, that's kind of what's going on. So,
Yeah, it's really strange, right? Because then I was gonna move on to another, like I had a list of questions I want to ask you. It's like, where is your inspiration for it? I threw that out the window because obviously, unfortunately,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, like, how sad is it that that's the world we live in, where you can make a film that's supposed to be really satirical and over the top, yet no, that's actually the America we live in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's what's weird about even the whole Karen phenomenon. Like, a lot of times we laugh at these videos and then other ones aren't funny, where it pisses you off and you get angry and you're ready to fight over, the situations that are going on. So yeah, people be like, it's totally outlandish for you to make a movie about a Karen. I'm like, it's totally outlandish for these women to act like Karens.
Yeah.
So that's why it's an outlandish film about an outlandish subject matter of women that just feel entitled and use race to use as a weapon against minorities, and using their entitlement to involve law enforcement and things like this. Like it's a mess, man. It's a mess. One of the many messes that are face minorities of this around the globe are faced with. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think one of your messages that I liked in the film, we see Corey Hardrict and Jasmine Burke as Malik and Imani is really fighting for their place because
Yeah.
one thing that I really thought about was on one side, we have some areas. I'm from Oakland. We have
Hmm.
gentrification where these areas are being rebuilt and then
Yeah.
like outlandishly expensive. And then on the other
Yeah.
hand, we have successful minorities making it into certain areas
Yeah.
where they don't want you.
Yeah.
And that's really frustrating. And I think what I took away from the film is just how sad I feel that we have to fight for our place.
Yeah, it's insane, man, that you in this day and age that people still think that they're superior to another person for any reason. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it baffles me. And that's what was great about writing this film is you want to write things that you're curious about and you're trying to understand. And even in some of the writing in the film, you'll see we tried to get inside Karen's psyche to try to maybe understand, not understand, because we'll never understand, but at least let a person express, why are you this way? Like what makes you feel like this is okay? And to her, it's perfectly logical. Last time Black people moved in my neighborhood, it was crack and drugs and violence. And so to her, it's completely justified, and that's, people are their experiences, so a lot
Mhm.
of times if people haven't had positive interactions with minorities, they get their mindset in one, mind frame, and act on it, for the rest of their lives sometimes, unfortunately.
I think what this film does, which is really great, is really puts it right in front of you, right into focus of what that looks like as a whole, as a person. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about Taryn Manning's portrayal of Karen and working with her?
Oh man, I mean, as you've seen, she's spot on as a Karen, and she's just a phenomenal actress. She completely loses herself in every moment. You know, it was a dream come true to be able to work with somebody of her caliber. You know, at this stage in my career. Yeah, and she just, you know, she was amazing, man. There was no throwaway moments. Like even there's a moment in there where she's putting up a security camera, and you know, it's a second unit shot in the script, but she turned it into something. Just the way she keeps looking back at the neighbors, and that's what she does. Like she did anything you give her, she's gonna dig deep into it and find more. You know, and okay, you need me to do this. Okay, well let me go here. You know, so it was a thing of beauty watching her work, man. It's that's one of my favorite parts of being a filmmaker is, you know, watching your words come to life. And then when you've got somebody like Taryn, you know, it was, you know, I tell people I had to pinch myself sitting at the monitor. Like, I'm like, am I really shooting a film with Taryn Manning right now? Like, this is insane. Oh, and she's a sweetheart, man. And she came and, you know, she got on the film at an early stage when, you know, all the funding wasn't closed or anything. She just said, hey, I love the film. And, you know, she lent her celebrity to it to really get the hype machine going. Cause when we announced the film with Taryn attached, that's when TMZ jumped on it. And that story went viral. Nothing to the level of when the trailer dropped. That was, you know, we broke the internet. But when just the story. So yeah, man, she's a sweetheart. I love her, and she's, you know, she deserves a lot of credit for being bold enough to step into a role like this and not be, you know, and we knew the backlash was coming. I was watching one of the interviews she did this week, and she was saying that white women are more angry at her than anyone.
Oh no.
But we know this, you know, we knew this going in. Like everybody knew what they signed up for. We knew it was going to be controversial. We knew everybody wouldn't like it. White, black, indifferent. It's like, you know, nobody's 100% of anything. So I didn't expect, you know, the black audience to be like, oh, this is a black film, is woke. We with it, you know, because it's art is subjective, you know, and we love certain things, we hate certain things. So, you know, but yeah, again, back to Taryn, just, you know, amazing person, amazing human being, amazing actress. You know, it was great, man.
When it comes to that kind of backlash, I always ask myself, why are you triggered? What is it that is inside of you that made you uncomfortable? And so
I mean, I do understand it. Again, you know what it points back to? A sense of entitlement. How dare you make fun of a white stereotype when the industry, the world celebrates all these black, Latino stereotypes, you know, Asian stereotypes, all that stuff is very pervasive in entertainment and in films and television. But Lord forbid you make fun of a white person. Then now Houston, we have a problem. And especially in a sense that it made people feel uncomfortable about it. Like, oh, we're talking about racism. Just like you said, we didn't pull no punches. We ran at it head on. Like, this isn't a science fiction movie about perceived racism. This is about racism you see every day on your cell phone and on television, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I want to ask you, how are you able to keep a good balance where you're keeping a good flow in the storyline, not going too over the top, but at the same time, making sure the message gets across?
Well, you know, a big thing in writing and also filmmaking is nuance, you know, and even though it's dead in your face and all that, I still try to nuance it and kind of let her build up into her aggression and kind of seeing her unravel, you know, little by little, where it's just, she starts off as this sweet, innocent, kind of like nosy neighbor, but then little by little, you're like, oh no, it's deeper than that. So it was a balancing act. And again, you know, we probably rewrote the script 10 times, you know what I mean, from the original script. So, you know, and this is the first time I've had this many, not cooks in the kitchen, but this many collaborators that I had to like kind of, you know, look at notes and think about them. And especially a film like this, I knew it was very important that to the best of my ability and my team's ability that we executed and that we didn't drop the ball, you know, because it's very easy for something like this to jump the shark and go off the rails and immediately. And that's, you know, that's why even with the backlash from the trailer, I'm just like, just watch the film. Like, you guys are getting mad. You're mad about the trailer because I didn't have a marketing machine spoon feed it to you for a year in advance. It just came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? And that was because I was telling somebody earlier, like when Wendy Williams first played the trailer, it was like after it was done, it was just this huge gasp in the audience. And I was like, yes, because That's what I want. I want people to be creeped out. I want people to be angry. I want people to have conversations about it. I want, I came here for all of this. I knew, I mean, obviously as filmmakers, we want our projects to be financially successful. And I knew this one would be, but that wasn't my sole motive. It was more so of addressing some of these issues, and Karens are such a small part of the issue that face, Blacks in this country and minorities in this country. But it was something that I felt was that we all know what a Karen is. We could all relate to it. And it was like kind of like a level playing field for me to be able to, tell this story about, one incident, where things just go off the rail.
I think that's what got me the most of the film. Is like I was saying in the beginning, I was expecting maybe a little bit more funny, a little bit, and then no, it was like, got you, man, because this is, it's going to spark a little bit more thought than you thought. And then I think my favorite moment in the film where I find that she flips the switch is where she comes out, kicks the garbage can, it goes back in, and that's when I was like, oh. All right.
Yeah. No, she's got it in her. You know what I mean? She's serious about this. And, so yeah, it was funny. Even when I was editing the film, I'm like, what is this? Like, and that's so funny. I wish I would have screenshot it like months ago while I was editing. I put it on my stories on Instagram where I'm like, people are asking me, is it a suspense thriller? Is it a comedy? Is it satire? Is it drama? Like, what is this? And I'm like, yes, it's all of those.
Yeah,
it's absolutely everything you just said. And we screened it here in Atlanta. We had our premiere here like 2 weeks ago, and it was great because we had a full audience. That's my first time being on a scene with an audience, and it got every reaction I wanted. People were laughing, people were getting mad, people were yelling at the screen, people applauded. Like I was like, because I mean, those are the good films where they say it's a roller coaster ride. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry. Like it's so cliche, but I feel like, I mean, honestly, when I was cutting it, I was same thing, laughing. There's parts where I teared up, a couple parts where I don't want to say it too loud, but I may have dropped a tear. I don't know. It might have been allergies, but it felt like a tear. So, but yeah, man, I'm very proud of the film, and I'm glad that, we've been doing a lot of press and everybody seems to have a positive reaction to actual seeing the work. So, I'm excited for the world to see, man. This Friday, because I got to keep forgetting to plug it, this Friday, it comes out on Amazon Prime and YouTube and Redbox and Microsoft and Google Play. Anywhere you get on demand or digital downloads, it'll be available for you. So let me throw that in there before I forget. So I've been doing a bad job at that.
That was one of my next questions. We want to make sure people can find this film because I think, like you said, it'll spark some conversations and it kind of like a little bit of focused look at what some of the things going on. Like you said, also not the main problem, but it's something that could be addressed.
Yeah, to me it was a deer in a barrel, but I didn't realize, like I realized early on when I started getting these random DMs when just the story was announced of like hashtag Karens Unite and things like that, where this one lady sent me this thing where she was like, there's over 9 million women on earth named Karen and you're ruining all of their lives by making this film. I'm like, wow, man. I didn't realize it was a global issue that I was creating, but hey, in the church I grew up in, the pastor used to always say, if you can't say amen, say ouch, and that's the thing is like, if you can't watch a film like Karen and go, yeah, I'm tired of crazy bitches like this too, then you might be a Karen. You know what I mean? Because that's what and a lot of the comments, especially the racist stuff, is just crazy. I can't even tell you the kind of racist stuff me and Taryn were getting, when the clip went viral or whatever. It was crazy, man, to think that level of bigotry still exists in this country. But I'm happy that a film like Karen could help expose that, because it's something that is it's not a good look for our country that we still have this type of racism and bigotry and bias, existing amongst us. And they're not all in the deep South. They're your neighbors. They're the guy you work with. Look at the Karen that threw herself all out in the Victoria's Secrets. That lady's a school teacher. You know what I mean? Like, that's frightening. It's frightening.
It's rough out there, and I mean, I guess it's better late than never that people like that are finally being exposed. And, in your film, also, there was a couple of moments where you start seeing the consequences of that, where it may not be that you're going to jail or nothing, but you may start losing some of those privileges. Being on boards, being on your partner in police.
Well, that's the thing too, is like, you know, I knew that had to be her ultimate unhinging is well, I won't spoil it, but you know, yeah.
Mhm.
To answer your question, yeah. So, but yeah, just, you know, again, we wanted to really, you know, one of the things in screenwriting and particularly in filmmaking is like you want to answer as many of the whys as possible. You
Right.
know, like you got to draw back the arrow and sling it. You know, like you got to try to. There was another version of the script where I went even deeper into her family history to kind of show where the racism has just kind of been handed on generation to generation. You know, so because that's, you know, that's where a lot of it comes from, is like you learn
Right.
this taught these behaviors at home. You know, you learn even subconsciously that, hey, they're different than us, the Latinos or blacks or whatever it is, you know, Jewish people, homosexuals, whoever people feel that they're entitled to feel that they're better than at this day and age is just ludicrous, you know. So
Yeah, absolutely. Coke, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the conversation, and I very much appreciate the film. I thought it was really well done. You're definitely going to get a lot more positive reaction from it. Of course, there's a reason why you're going to get the negative, but you know, we're beyond that.
but we're in a culture where we only slander what's relevant. Like, look how much
Yeah,
slander Jay-Z and Beyonce and Drake and Rihanna and whoever you can name. The biggest, Kanye, he just got slandered into another platinum album. I mean, that's just the
yeah,
culture we live in, you know? So,
I agree. Great
okay.
job. I appreciate it, Coke. I
Appreciate
hope
it,
to
man.
talk to you again on a future film.
Yes. Yes. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, take care.
All right. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.